right. I hope that we have got this all together. Let's see here. I am just double checking to make sure that this is, oh, yeah, wonderful. I am hoping that you can all hear me. Let's take this down. Oops, wrong one. And let's see if you are seeing what I want you to see. No, turn up volume. Hey, creatives, I hope you are joining me. Um, let's see. It looks like I'm going live to YouTube. So I'm hoping that I have all of my assets set. Okay, live on YouTube. Looks good. Let's hope. I'm just not seeing it. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Hmm. Well, let's see if I can get this going. So, welcome. And I don't know why I cannot see the visual on this. Let's see if it's going to bring it back up if I relog in. Somebody give me the thumbs up if you can see what's going on. I would love to know. Let's see. Well, I guess I'm going to introduce myself. Welcome. My name is Linda Bertine. I'm the creative force behind Linda Bertine Creations. Uh, and I'm not seeing a live screen like I did earlier. And I hate to sound skeptical, but something doesn't seem like it's 100% correct. And I don't know why I am missing. Let's see. I'm not seeing what I want to see. And I'm not seeing it on the channel either. So I'm going to exit out of my phone real quick and see if I can just log in and see what's going on. Channel with my lives. Well, I hope it's working, guys. I'm going to go ahead and proceed. And if something happens that I'm not being able to do it, I'm going to go ahead and hit record because that will make sure that everything is recorded so that I can post it later if this somehow doesn't stream live. I was super excited to be able to get on this afternoon. But once again, my name is Linda Bertine, and I am the creative force behind Linda Bertine Creations. I just want to send my deepest thanks and appreciation for all of you who have been with me through this struggle. I was blocked from Facebook on my personal account, which means I had no access. I couldn't go live, even though I set up a secondary account for 60 days until I'd been established. So the last week, I tried to go live and it wouldn't let me use my cameras. This is now speaking of maybe similar issues, and I hope not. I hope that everything goes well, that you can all see this. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started. I had started using my Daisy Days pattern, which is a free download for those of you who belong to the Linda B Creative Facebook group. That is a group I host on Facebook, and you will find this free pattern in the files. There was also a direct link in my newsletter. If you haven't subscribed to my newsletter, you can go to my website, Linda Bertine, and it's Bratten creations.com, and that's where you can subscribe to it. And I want to encourage you to subscribe to it because not only do I offer free things there, lots of times I link to free things and I give additional hints and techniques. So a couple of other things that I want to share with you before I um, get started on today's lesson is I want to share with you some things that are coming up. Now, last Wednesday, we had our Sew in the Studio. For those of you that don't know, oops, hopefully you'll see this. We are going to be doing a enhancement of a panel, which I absolutely love. We're going to be using IQ Designer, and I hope you can see this. We're adding all kinds of lovely stitches to a Northcott fabric panel. It is a tote, like a purse panel, but we're going to enhance it with IQ Designer and machine embroidery that we get to choose and pick. Now, here is something fun that is coming up. For those of you that have been with me for a while, you know that I do a lot of collaborations. And so this collaboration was one that I did, or I'm coming to do. And I just want to kind of give you a teaser. This is coming out in August. So you want to hang out and make sure that you get subscribed to my newsletter because this is going to be absolutely fabulous. And I can't wait to share that with you. But let's go ahead and take it to the machine so you can see what we're going to be working on today. As always, I try to give you the instructions as far as a detailed, oh, look at that, a peacock. Imagine that, guys. Detailed instructions as to what we're going to do. So today we are working with the Baby Lock Solaris, and I'm just going to close my lamp here because it's obviously reflecting badly. But we are going to be doing free motion quilting. And in order to do free motion quilting, you're going to want your machine set on a straight stitch. Now, I have selected a center justified straight stitch, which is the 1-03. The 1-04 is another good option because it actually reinforces in place. Now, one of the things I'm going to have to do is make sure that I get my machine set up for free motion quilting. And on the Ballad and the Chorus and the Solaris, this is a very easy thing to do because it's done with just one push of the button, and that's that button right there. And when I touch that, this machine automatically reduces my presser foot pressure, it tightens my tension, and it lowers my feed dogs with one touch of a button. And it's that easy, guys, that easy. Now to shut off my free motion, and I hope you noticed over here when if I need to shut it off, I just touch here, and you're going to notice, touch it, then I go back to my standard presser foot. When it's activated, I have my free motion quilting foot on. That's kind of an indicator or a hint that you have pressed the correct button. All right, we're going to talk about a few other things that you need to have set up on your machine so that you can be ready to do free motion quilting. All right, now hopefully this will be visible to you. All right, there's a couple of things that I have done here already. I have added my Baby Lock Grid Glider. This is actually a Baby Lock product, but it's a slick surface so that my free motion quilting sandwich can glide easily back and forth. And I'm going to take that lamp and put it right back on so you guys have a better visual here. But it helps with the actually getting it set up so that it's slick and smooth. And even though we're not using a quilt sandwich today, it does help. Now, another product that you could use is, of course, that Supreme Slider. There's lots of products out there. Look for one that works with your machine. I like this one because, of course, it has the open feed dogs. I don't really even have to take this off. I could actually piece with this on my machine. You do want to save the plastic liner because when you roll it up to put it back in your little tube to hold it in, it won't stick to itself then. Now, another thing that I did is I do use a product called Lickety Grip, and this is found in the scrapbook section. It's like to collate papers, but it's archival and acid free. Those are the two things you got to look for, but it makes my fingers sticky so that I can grab onto my hoop. Now you're going to need your pattern. And what I've done is I have just taken an ordinary number 2 pencil, and I happen to like the Papermate handwriting pencils with the number 2 lead, and I just traced it. So you're going to notice this pattern is very, very basic. And when you look at what I had actually thread sketched earlier, you're going to see I did a lot of detail. This is added on later. All right. But I just drew the basic sketch or the basic outline of this. And so what we want you to do is we actually want you to line the back side of this with a tearaway stabilizer. That's going to be important because you need a stabilizer. Now you're going to notice I have a hoop on here. This is actually a hand embroidery hoop. It's a very basic one. It does have an opening. Now, a lot of people who do thread painting, which is where you add so much thread, you don't see the base fabric at all. This is actually, I call this thread sketching because you still see the white fabric behind the stitches. If you're going to do a lot of this, you might actually want to use a wooden hoop or a plastic hoop that goes all the way around and uses a screw to tighten it down. There is some consideration, of course, because you've got these little legs here on the side. You could bump them with your free motion quilting foot, and that can quilt a jar. So you have to be mindful of this. I like these because they fit easily under the presser foot. That's another consideration. Here's a word of warning, though. You can get really lax and you can hang on to these, and all of a sudden they'll spring out of the hoop, and that kind of scares you. It doesn't harm your project, but it does harm your heart a little bit because it makes you nervous. The other thing you have to be careful for is if your harp on your machine is very, very narrow. Let's say you've only got 6 inches to the right of the needle or 8 inches to the right. You may hit your hoop on the base of your machine. So you need to be mindful of these considerations when you're doing thread sketching on your sewing machine. So we're going to go ahead and lift, bring our thread to the top. So I'm just going to lower my feed, my presser foot, insert my needle, and bring it up again. I'm going to lift my presser foot to release that tension and just gently pull. And I could have flossed it and pulled it all the way through easily, but I like to leave long tails that I can actually take care of my stitches or bury them later. So I'm going to kind of start in the middle here. You're going to notice I have a leaf that goes on the outside of my hoop and another leaf and some petals on the other side. So we're going to be doing a couple of rehoopings here. Maybe if we have time, like I said, I like to keep it to about 30 minutes. So we're going to see how far we can get. I'm going to do a few anchoring stitches, and then I'm just going to go ahead and proceed. Now, one of the things you have to be mindful of is testing. Before I went ahead and did this, set my machine up, I did test to make sure that it was going to stitch like I wanted it to. The other thing is you are the stitch length regulator when we're in free motion quilting mode. So you need to move it either faster or slower. The slower you move it, the smaller the stitches. The faster you move it, the longer the stitches. So anytime I have a curve that I want to look round, I'm going to move it a little bit slower. I'm just going to be honest with you. Now, one of the things I've been doing on this project is coming in and enhancing the piece using the thread to do a little shading. So we're going to do that here because, of course, this one's kind of in the edge, and I'm just maybe going to do a little bit of a loop and then echo right back in there, making a kind of a curvy little hook. But I'm going to add some long lines of shadowing because this one is actually on the edge, and then I'm going to come over here and do another petal. And maybe I'll even do some more shading over here. All right. So I'm just letting the thread do the talking. If I don't trace my pattern exactly, I'm not going to sweat it because that's going to go away. I'm going to either wash it away or do some added mixed media to it, and you won't even see those lines. That's my goal. But I just want to let you know that that's one way that you can actually fix if you don't stay on the lines you created. Don't panic. And for those of you that were with me earlier on this project, you know my goal was to make it look like a pencil sketched or an ink sketching project. So I'm just going to keep stitching and adding some enhancements to make this look like a naturally sketched daisy. Okay, so here I'm actually at that leaf. So what I might do is just take a moment here and fill in the leaf portion that I can. Just sometimes it's easier to take care of business while you're here and then come back in, and this petal is supposed to look like it goes behind the leaf, which I'm okay with. But I might just add a little bit of texture this way, right back over here, and maybe do some long lines real close to where that other edge would be. Here again, I got the leaf edge, so I'm just going to take it on up. bring it on back. I might even take it all the way down and maybe just even come over here while I'm at this leaf and do some of this inside work. Remember, I was kind of leaving a little bit of a channel so it looked kind of like a vein of that leaf. Okay, so I've kind of got this one over here. I might actually do a scoop this way, come right back up to that center, and maybe come around here and just slightly bring it down. And wherever I have a scoop, I'm going to do a little bit of shadowing. I'm pretty sure a scoop is one of those botanist terms. Whoa, okay. I did not keep an eye. Remember I told you? Linda did the wham. My needle bar actually, or my needle screw actually hit that little post. I should have known it. And guess what I did? So I'm going to lift. I'm going to lift my presser foot and I'm going to pull this out because this is not, remember this was, if I was to stitch more, I would connect it and I didn't want to connect it. Notice I just took those stitches right out. I'm going to come over here on the back side and of course trim them along so that I can come in and fix that. But boy, did that scare me. See what I'm telling you? Those little arms are things to be aware of. So I'm going to put them, I think, on this side. And we are going to re-enter and pull our threads back up. Lift that presser foot up. I'm just going to go ahead and floss it so I can get that bobbin thread to the top. Notice that I clipped it fairly short towards the back of the project. And now I'm going to do those small anchoring stitches again. All right, here we go. Things to be mindful of. I warned you about it, and then I didn't pay attention to my own advice, did I? All right, there we go. Oh, how pretty. I'm liking this. All right, I'm going to come over here. I think I can get maybe one more petal before I have to do some moving. All right. The reason I'm pausing is I'm just going to move these threads over to something I've already quilted so I don't drag them in and, oh, I'm not going to get very far here. I can see that right now. I can't go. The presser foot itself has some depth to it, so I'm not going to be able to go too far. But I can come over here and I don't know if you could see this. I did some really fun shading on the center of this daisy over here. And I kind of want to repeat that. I think that's kind of a nice look and it kind of finishes the edges where they might not have maybe met or been consistent. Is that the word I'm looking for? So I'm going to give it some little bit of curving, kind of give it that little bit of texture so it looks like I have that um, oh, those little texturized things that make that center just kind of really stand out. And I might just do another line here just to make that really emphasis. Now you're going to notice that I have some things that look like little bumps over here. These are actually petals that didn't get the full view. You gotta have some of those in your petal, in your daisy when you have a side view. Because of course that's where the daisy gets it. And I'm just going to do a few little dents this way just to make those look appropriate. And now I'm at a point where I should either go over here and maybe start or rehoop and go over here. So I think I'm going to take my hoop out. Did you see what I just did? This is what makes this totally different from machine embroidery is that I don't even, if as long as it's fairly smooth and flat, I don't even have to like unhoop this and realign things. I just moved everything over so that I could continue with my stitching. Did you see how convenient and easy that was? That is one of those big, I don't know, like, this is easier, you know? That's why I think I still am attracted to doing it because it just kind of gives me some freedom to play. And I'm just playing here with some more petals. And I'm going to just wheel it around this way so I have the visibility. This one kind of has a flat little petal that dips a little bit. There's going to be some shadow here along the bottom more so because of the other petal that I think is sitting on top of it. The squareness there. Beautiful. Once again, here we are real close. So I'm going to come in and do it this way where there's not anything that's going to attach to those petals. And here again, visibility is huge. If you can't see, you're not going to know where to go. Now you have to be kind of cautious about doing too many lines because you can just make it look like, I don't know, like you scribbled or something. Oops, did you see here I went off? So I'm just going to fix that by doing a little bit more stitching and some lines. Too many lines sometimes will blur the actual image. So you have to kind of keep a balance of what's too much, what's not too much, and just keep enhancing it. That's the word. Less is always more. If you just do the actual outline, you're still going to get a really fun project that you can add some really great free motion quilting on. So don't despair if you're like, well, I can't do all that echoing or that tracing. And I'm like, oh, don't worry, you know, do what you can and make it work. Have some fun with it. Don't feel like you have to be, I don't know, superstar right out of the bat if you've never done this before. And I'm not even sure I'm a superstar. Oops. I think I might actually just re-enhance that one little echo there. Maybe come down in the middle, back up. And trust me, the more you do this, guys, I don't know, it just seems like it gets easier to be able to do. I am not seeing any changes at all. So I'm hoping that you all get to see what I'm seeing. If this doesn't work, we're going to have to figure out something. All right. Once again, I am at a pause. So I'm just going to unhoop, slide my big red portion underneath, and move things over. I want to make sure I lay it flat. Let's see where we got these threads. I don't want to catch those. But I want to kind of continue with my process here. But I just want to be able to see what I'm working on. All right. Let's see here. And I apologize if you have been trying to message me and let me know that you can't see it. I am just going to post the video. I have been oh so busy. In fact, this coming Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, you can catch me in New Bloomfield, Missouri. I will be at the Rooster Creek quilt show in New Bloomfield, Missouri. And I will be presenting at 11 and at 1 p.m. every day. Plus, I get to have a vendor booth. So those of you who have been waiting to get some of my patterns, that's a great time. Then the following Tuesday and Wednesday, I am with the Ozark Peacemakers in Springfield, Missouri. And I am so fortunate to be back again. It's a repeat, but with a different program. So once again, I'm moving my hoop around, guys. You can see how just amazingly easy this can be just to get the whole piece done and just continue moving around the piece of work. But anyhow, I get to be with the Ozark Peacemakers one more time, which is really, really fun. I love coming back and doing repeat performances. But the last time I was there, I got to share my story of my adventures into art quilting, the bits and pieces of it. And I got to share a mixed media program where we got to do a lot of hands-on. They did aprons. This time around, it's telling your story, the importance of labeling your work, and giving you a variety of techniques and inspiration to make sure that your quilts are documented so they never get lost, which I think is a fabulous thing. Because if you've ever inherited or had access to a old antique quilt, you know, many of those makers never got credit for their work. Of course, many of them were utilitarian, and I think probably, you know, having it be documented was probably the last thing on that quilter's mind. It was more of a method of survival rather than a piece of art. All right, so I have to move my hoop just a little bit more so that I can actually travel up that stem and do the vines on this. Move it over just a tad bit more and get the vines quilted on this leaf. Hopefully you can see what I'm seeing here. So here we go. We're just going to sneak around. Oh, you know what? I should have caught this one. Let me go back. While I'm here, let's make it fun. All right, now I have to travel clear over to here. So it's going to take a little bit, but I think we can do it together. Let's see if we can go this way. And now I'm going to see if it's going to let me do it. May not like it. There we go. Give that just a little bit of thickness. And I'm just going to go around the outside edge of my petals. That kind of actually makes it stand out just a tad bit more, but it also gives me that opportunity to travel on over here to this last leaf that I need to embellish or enhance. And we are going to, oops, let me see here. I need to hoop this correctly. Oh, it's gonna, I don't want to do a whole lot of hooping. I was hoping to get it in one last hooping. That was my goal. Let's see if I can accomplish that. Oh, I think I did. Oh, look at that. Okay, here we go. It's kind of, oh, guess what? I grabbed a hold of those handles and guess what sprung on me? So yeah, I did the spring and I wasn't going to do that. Sure enough, I did. So I'm going to once again lay it flat and try to get it tight in here. Sometimes what happens is if you're too close to this edge, you're not going to get it hooped in there correctly. All right, here we go. We're going to give this just a little bit of travel. And before I go any further, I'm going to slide my hoop just ever so slightly over again. So I think that's going to give me the best visibility along with opportunity to get this leaf finished in one last hooping. It's a game I play with myself. Can you tell how many times I have to hoop and if I can get it done without having a whole bunch of hooping? All right, here we go. One last time. One last leaf. Let's put it that way. All right. Since this is a leaf, I'm actually going to, I don't know if you noticed, but I did do like a double. So I'm just going to, before I do any of the inside, because I can always rehoop, I'm just going to do another repeat just to emphasize and make that ever so slightly thicker. Just to make it stand out and be just ever so much more, um, oh, I don't know. Ah, Linda should not talk and stitch. I'm going to reinforce my stitches. There we go. So come back and pull that. All right, I'm going to pivot and do the sides. Throwing in where I think I need one. Just embellishing it. Oops, I broke a thread, guys. Can you believe that? Lift my hoop or lift my thing. Here we go. Let's give it a try. Wants me to, must have hit something and just snapped. So I'm once again just rethreading. I've got my presser foot in the up position. Anytime you rethread, you want to make sure that you do that. Go ahead and there is the Baby Lock Never Miss threading. the beautiful thing. And I'm going to lift my presser foot and pull it long. Hopefully I will be able to come in here and pull up my bobbin thread. Because sometimes when you break a thread, you also break that bobbin thread, and it's so short sometimes you can't pull it up. Oh, but it pulled up. So let's hope we can just continue on and do the last little bit of our leaves. All right, lower it. Let's give it a few anchoring stitches. Yeah. Here, back. We're gonna go long. I might put one in here. I think that might look appropriate because we've got a long way to go on this leaf. Add some little ones. Bring it back down. Oops. You know what? That looks a little too open. Give it some wing. Here we go. All right. I might just go up and down this center vein one more time just because I have the thread breaks. And I just want to make sure that it all gets filled in and looks appropriate. Just adding a little bit of definition, maybe up in this one too. There we go. Oop. You know what? Changed my mind. Want that one to look longer. Isn't that funny how you see things and you're thinking, Now I could come in here. I did kind of start on the other one, adding, you could do some shading like over here where this petal is behind it. I may come in and just do a little bit of extra zits, I guess, little zigzag type things. Just kind of on the dark side of it, just to give it kind of a shadowy look. I could have probably come in, but this one is actually sitting on top of the daisy rather than the daisy itself was behind, whereas this one is behind the other daisy. So there might be just a slight amount of shadowing, but I'm going to lift my presser foot, lift my needle, lift my presser foot, pull some slack into this, coming right back down. Finally, you're going to see me actually finish my threading, and I'm going to insert my needle here and pull it one more time and lift that presser foot. Now, once again, as the thread is coming off the needle here, you know that's the one to cut. On the bobbin thread I just pulled up, one will pull very easily, which is this one. This one pulls up the project. Cut the one that pulls the easiest, and that will leave you with your threads to the top. And then you can go ahead and manage them. So you have, with me, endured many, many trials and tribulations. And I hope that you actually are getting to see this and that we can, if not, I will publish the video. I promise one way or the other, you're going to get this information. But this is our Daisy Days pattern made in honor of my mother and her summer love of daisies. Those were her flowers. I just wanted to let you know that next week I am on the road because I'm going to be in Springfield setting up and getting ready. So I won't be able to come with you live. And if this doesn't work, we're going to have a discussion, folks. We're going to have to figure something out, and maybe Patreon is the answer. I have no idea. But we're going to figure something out. And I hope that you can continue with me and continue to be inspired. So let me just change this one more time. And just to let you know, I truly appreciate you joining me. I apologize for all of these technical issues I've been having. It's not my thing. I'm not a tech savvy. I don't live for technology. I live to create. But when technology, like a great sewing machine, helps me create, there I am. I love it. So it's a love and hate relationship. Let's put it that way. However, I am committed to sharing what I find, how I know things, and how I'm able to use things. So I hope you are inspired this week to give thread sketching a shot. And I won't see you next week, but hopefully the week after.